Coming into YouTube, we are going live here with Jimmy Rants, my show that I do Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. So we're going to start that over on Instagram Live here in just a moment. We're already live here with my Facebook page. Come on in, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. Like you've never heard that in your life. Just like I've never heard Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care. I used to get that one a lot when I was a kid. I'd get... because I was a kid of the 80s and people still remembered Jimmy Carter, I'd get, "Hi, my name's Jimmy Carter." And they'd come up to me and want me to be Jimmy Carter. So anyway. Hey Ted, thanks for being here as well. Come on in, Facebook and YouTube. Appreciate you guys both being here today. We're getting ready to start my show called Jimmy Rants over on Instagram. And looks like T-minus about 30 more seconds and we'll start the show. But thanks for being here. Hello, Marge. Appreciate you being here as well. Hello, Chastity. We're going to start Jimmy Rants. So thank you guys for being here. And if you guys are ready, let's get this show on the road. Here we go. Come on in, you guys. We got a brand new episode of Jimmy Rants in store for you here today. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, if you want to engage live in the content, you got to go follow me. I'm over on Instagram. I am at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live in the content. We go live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Sometimes I throw in 5 p.m. Eastern. Monday through Friday, and a few times we go on over the weekend. I try to do about 8 episodes a week total. So tune in, Instagram. Again, we also simulcast on my Facebook page, so thank you guys for being here, as well as on YouTube Live. So thank you all for watching Jimmy Rants here today. If you missed the live over here on Instagram, you can watch it on replay for up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, it does disappear, but we have 2 specific places you can watch the past videos. JimmyRants.com is the official website for this show, and then over on YouTube we archive all the past episodes over there. Type the keyword Jimmy Rants and you will find the show. So guys, I got a really interesting Jimmy Rants to share with you here in just a moment. That's somewhat related to COVID-19, but it's more like an effect of what's happening because of COVID-19. But before I go there, I want to address something that I just put up on social media. I put it up here on Instagram, and I just shared it over here on Facebook. I, over the weekend, got an email from one of the prominent keto doctors out there. Now, if I said this doctor's name, you would instantly know who it is, and I'm not, by the way. Do not want to embarrass this person because, quite frankly, that's not my style, and I would not do that. But I was shocked when I got this email, and it basically stated, "I'm disappointed in you because you're spreading misinformation about COVID-19, and you should open that, stay in your lane, stop talking about COVID-19, and just get back to talking about people and their diet and how to get healthy." And I inquired a little more, and I said, "So, okay, that's interesting. Where did this come from? Show me some evidence that shows what you're talking about." "Oh, I heard from a colleague," didn't say who it was, "who said they saw you deny that the coronavirus was real." Now that made me stop in my tracks, because you guys watch me every single day here on Jimmy Rants. When have I once said COVID-19 is not real? But that's what he said. And then here was the kicker. Then he said, "I went to scroll on your social media pages and I found evidence that you did exactly that." So this particular keto doctor is one that is always a stickler about show me the evidence, show me the evidence, show me the evidence when it comes to health claims that are made out there. If you make a health claim, the first thing this doctor's going to say is, "Show me the evidence." So I'm like, okay, show me the evidence. 3 days ago. I still don't have any evidence. So I don't know what that was about. I know people are kind of under stress right now, and it's a little bit of a crazy world, but come on, let's slow our roll. Let's don't accuse innocent people of things that they have not done. That kind of messed me up over the weekend, because I was like, now wait a minute. Like, I have been very, very careful with the information that I have shared about COVID-19. If I come here on camera doing a Jimmy Rants, if I'm reading from something, it's generally that's making some kind of a claim that might run a little bit counter to the mainstream. I'm always looking at papers that are actual research papers, so published research, or I'm reading from medical doctors. So like yesterday I did that Dr. Mark Cucuzella post last night, and he did a whole really incredible article about how we need to improve metabolic health in order to protect ourselves against COVID-19 and other future viruses, blah blah blah. Yesterday morning I talked about the article from Dr. Malhotra and Dr. Lustig and Dr. Damasi, that all talked about it's not calories and cholesterol, it's your insulin resistance, and you want to get that in order, blah blah blah. So I'm always providing really solid information. So when he made this accusation against me, and I've known this person for a very, very long time, so it was a bit shocking. But I know who I am, and please, 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 if I say something out of line, call me out. But don't make up stuff. Don't say, well, you said COVID-19 is not real. No, I have never said that. From the very beginning, I took it very seriously. What I was very concerned about when this all hit was all the negative, the constant negative news that was being put out there. And as a content provider in the health space, I thought, you know what? One thing that I can do is be a positive voice and a calming voice in the midst of all noise out there. And that's what I've tried to do here on Jimmy Rants. Yes, it's got rants in the title, but I don't rant at you hard, so I'm just screaming at you constantly. Most of the time, I'm encouraging you and giving you information that hopefully is helpful to you. So I just had to get that out of the way. It's just really a strange time right now. People are losing their friggin' minds right now. And maybe there's a whole Jimmy Rants in there somewhere to talk about some of the reasons why people are just going crazy. And I mean, this is people that you know and have loved for years that are like leaders in the keto and carnivore space. And they're just saying some crazy stuff right now. Are you seeing some of that? I mean, it's been disappointing as one of their colleagues in this space of providing content. I get the passion that some people have, but I think they've stepped over the line. I do not step over that line. I walk up to the line and say, okay, here are the possibilities, but I always walk it back and say, all right, figure out what you believe is true, which is what I've always done in all my work. I never tell you what to do. I always present information, and then I say, okay, you think about this information, and if it's intriguing, go research some more. But some people are making claims that are just absolutely fact, and you can't disagree or you will be ostracized. So this medical doctor, yeah, I'm disappointed because it upset me all weekend that I was accused of something I never did. And anybody that knows Jimmy personally, you know, I don't take to being told that I did something that I didn't do. Nothing really gets under my skin more than that. All right, so let's get to today's topic of Jimmy Rants. And I thought this was an interesting one because it seems that all the technology that we have out there now, a lot of these techie companies are starting to use some of their existing technology to try to help in this era of COVID-19. And I have one story here that's a bit of a positive one, and then we'll get to the one that's a little the positive one is about this app, and it's a bot that will fight your landlord if you can't pay your rent because of the coronavirus. It's called Do Not Pay. So that's the name of the chat bot. It provides help with legal issues. It will assist users with obtaining deadline extensions on all your bills. If you're getting behind because you lost your job, what's the last count? 30-something million people are currently unemployed. Due to the financial strain from the coronavirus, this app will automatically pinpoint where the user lives. So using the GPS tracker on your phone, it'll know where you are. It'll check in to see if any bills eligible for waivers or extensions can be applied. And then it will send requests to those companies for the extension. All of this automatically. That's pretty cool, right? Like a lot of people, they don't want to think about all of those things right now. And here's an app, again, called Do Not Pay, that's stepping up to do that very thing. At this time, the extra service only applies to the United States who have coronavirus-related laws. The app will assist users in states without pandemic orders in its usual manner by using the available local laws that are on the books. A similar coronavirus-related service will be available later for residents that live in the UK. So countless Americans are facing the possibility of losing their jobs to this pandemic. Many folks in the restaurant, bars, hospitality, and entertainment industries have already been laid off. I saw just this morning Gold's Gym filed for bankruptcy because of COVID-19 and having to shut down. I am a member at Planet Fitness, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with some of these businesses like those that have had to be forced to shut down. Substitute teachers, contractors, and small business owners are also struggling with this sudden lack of income. Some states like California and Washington have issued emergency orders to pause all evictions during the COVID-19 outbreak to stem the damage done to people who have been financially impacted by the coronavirus. I can tell you, I got a little bit behind in early April because I was running out of money. I've since been able to get some money, but I was running out of money, and so a few bills got just a few days behind. And you should have seen the nasty grams. I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, they're trying to make good on the bill, but like they have to understand, especially somebody that has a good payment history. Why do you just assume they're suddenly a criminal when they miss a few days on a bill? I think across the board, they could really give a little more grace. Now, I get it. All these companies, they need to get paid too, so I get it. But they got to know the situation that people are in. In other states without any protections, residents may find further hardship from landlords now raising their rent to make up for some of the losses. Utility companies shutting off their services. Thank goodness I have solar panels on my house that if I was to have my power shut off for whatever reason, I've got solar panels that will produce some energy. I also have a generator, a whole home generator that will kick in that if I had no power at all, it would run my house for 2 weeks. So they can shut the power off if they want to. I'm gonna be good for at least a little bit. But not everybody has that. All right, so the shutting off the services by the utility companies and the landlords raising rent, the Do Not Pay app, which we're talking about here, hopes to help with that. Initially created to assist people fighting against traffic tickets, this Do Not Pay app, the app has since expanded into services, including filing a small claim against a company. The app calls itself the world's first robot lawyer. It specializes in automatically dealing with all the filing and paperwork process for the end user. This means if the initial letter requesting a fee waiver or bill extension is denied, the service will promptly send another firm letter that cites local and state laws that will convince them to approve the request. So this is all automated, you guys. You get this app, again, it's called Do Not Pay. I assume you can download it from any of your app stores that you use. And it does all this automatically once you turn on the service. And as far as I know, it doesn't say it here. As far as I know, it's a free service. I haven't seen anything about what they charge for this. The service can also provide assistance with credit card bills if you get behind on those, though the extent depends on the credit card company. According to The Verge, too many companies have reacted with different levels of compassion during the pandemic. Some are talking about skipping a month's rent to make business as usual, to keep business as usual, which warrants a bit of negotiation to make that waiver request. It takes some time and mental energy to go through this process, which some people might not have right now. So by relying on this app, the founder of Do Not Pay hopes that what services it can provide will allow Americans to focus less on their finances and more on trying to stay healthy and taking care of their loved ones during this uncertain time. So there is a use of technology that I think is pretty cool. And of course, some people have concerns because it's using the GPS app and it knows where you are and it knows you're behind on bills. And so I suppose if you have privacy concerns, you may not like that. But for those of you that don't have those concerns, this could be an interesting option for you. But There is another bit of technology from two of the big boys in the technological world that might have you a little more concerned. Now, I recently talked about on Jimmy Rants, it was one of the ones I did on an Ask Me Anything recently, and it was talking about Australia implementing this app that you voluntarily could sign up for, and it would track you. And in the tracking of you, if you have symptoms of COVID-19 or you're around people with symptoms of COVID-19 that have signed into this app, it will alert you and it will say, look, you're within like a half a mile of someone with COVID-19, you know, you might want to move out of the way. So I think they were trying to get 40% of the population in Australia to do that. And I'm not sure how many people have actually signed up for it. But Apple and Google have now gotten in on this kind of technology, and they've taken it a little bit deeper than Australia did. Watch this, you guys. This is out of CNN. Apple and Google show what their contact tracing system could look like. So Apple and Google just provided the first look at how public health apps could use the coronavirus contact tracing software they are jointly developing. These two tech companies shared a series of images and guidelines on Monday for governments and public health authorities to integrate with their contact tracing app, including how users will be notified if they've been exposed to someone who has the coronavirus. They also laid out requirements for the apps that use the system, including that they will not run any ads, so that's one of the prerequisites, and will not collect any location data. Now, I know some people are skeptical. Of course, they're going to collect your data. That's what they do. But they're promising they don't. Apple and Google are developing software that will piggyback on public health apps rather than developing their own app. But they said on Monday that many authorities have been asking for help in building those apps. So, do you have any public health apps on your phone? If you have an iPhone, which I have one here, and I have an iPad, that has a health app. I wear this ring that tracks my sleep and my steps and some other things called the Oura Ring. It is a health app. We all have these health apps on our phone. What if they start integrating, Apple and Google, this contact tracing system into those apps where they keep an eye on your vital signs to see if you're getting sick? In fact, with the Oura, I am currently in the midst of one of their studies. They're doing a study on COVID-19 right now, and they want to see if tracing and tracking wearables like the Oura Ring can actually predict that you're going to have COVID-19 before you actually have it. And so I do not have it, have not had it, did the antibodies test, and it came back negative. So, and in fact, I saw just this week, they're going to send me an antibody test in the mail for this study to get tested. But they want to see if they can predict that you get coronavirus long before you show any symptoms. So that's interesting. But with this, they want to trace it so that all these health apps use this software behind the scenes. So maybe unbeknownst to you, you don't even realize that you're being traced and tracked. Are you okay with that? Like, that's interesting to me that this technology is being developed. And of course, let's not pretend like they haven't already come up with like tracking and tracing software. I've got a Alexa over there. Hi, Alexa.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're not sure. You're never sure. That I know is listening to me, because sometimes I'll be having a conversation with someone, not right now because there's nobody else here, but I would talk and then it would give me suggestions for ads and things like that. You guys notice, I know we noticed this. You start talking about something and next thing you know, you look on your phone and there's a pop-up ad for that thing you were just talking about. So we know they're listening. Hello out there. We know you're listening. Okay? So if I'm not bringing this to your attention today, would you even know Apple and Google are doing this? And are you okay with that? These two longtime rivals who control two of the world's most popular smartphone operating systems, They announced last month that they would work together to help governments track the spread of the coronavirus using Bluetooth technology. They will initially set up a feature known as API, set to roll out later this month, that public health authorities say will integrate with apps on the iOS, which is the Mac, and Apple, or Android systems. Apple and Google are looking into ways to eventually notify users when they've been exposed to the virus without needing an app. And again, I say, it's interesting. COVID-19 puts this on the radar screen. Why don't we do this with other diseases? You know, it would be really interesting to me is if we had, people wearing CGMs, like a continuous glucose monitor, and you see someone with a very high blood sugar, and you're in a grocery store or something, avoid that cart because whatever they're eating, it's making their blood sugar go wild. The extent to which technology is going to advance in the coming years along this lines of tracing and tracking is going to be frightening for those of us thinking about this right now. It will become a normal part of society someday, but right now, all of the implications of these tracking and tracing software things that companies like Apple and Google are coming up with, hold on to your hats. You don't know what's about to hit you. By embedding disease monitoring capabilities into virtually every smartphone on the planet, the two tech giants hope to create a global spanning coronavirus warning system that could be also used as a tipping point in their longtime effort to gain a bigger foothold into the healthcare industry. So for years, both Google and Apple have tried to get into the health part of the sector of society. And they've created some apps here and there. But this, you guys, this is a huge step forward. Now, I don't know how transparent they need to be, or they will be, regarding where they're going to put this software that will be tracing and tracking you. But are you concerned about this? Like, I get there's people that are all about, don't take away my liberties. You got to give me the right to turn this down if I don't want it, blah, blah, blah. What if they just do it? What if they just do it and we don't even know it? It reminds me of that Tom Cruise movie, Minority Report, where they were arresting people for future crimes based on like an algorithm in the software. And so they would be arresting people for the future crimes that they would be committing because they could see the future crimes long before they happen based on sets of circumstances. Will they predict that you're going to get coronavirus in the future and thus you have to be forced quarantined? And you start letting your mind wander in this direction, it gets a little bit kind of frightening to think about. But this is the kind of technology that's being used and getting ready to be put out there for all the world. Contact tracing initiatives in various countries, particularly those enabled by technology, have raised widespread privacy concerns. That is a big concern that so many people will have with this, that Google and Apple are trying to get ahead of. In their update on Monday, the company shared sample code for apps that could use their contact tracing tools and guidelines to protect user privacy. You can tell me my privacy is going to be safe, but until I have some kind of assurance that's solid and verified, you might as well just assume your information is all going to be exposed. In other words, how would they be able to contact you if they couldn't see your information to contact you and let you know you're getting close to somebody with coronavirus? You see how scary this gets really quick. Those guidelines include that the system will not collect your location data. Again, how do they not collect your data about your location if they're going to send you information based on your location from the GPS on your phone? I suppose we're just supposed to trust they're not going to keep that information, but they have to get that information in order for this to work. It will be used only by health authorities without being monetized. All right, who's health authorities? World Health Organization? Are they a health authority? Local doctors? Who defines what the health authorities are? A lot of questions about this, you guys. And it's great they're not wanting to monetize it, but money makes the world go round. Somebody's going to try to monetize this. They will require explicit user consent. I want to see that one. Explicit user consent means you got to know, and you're either opting in yes or you're opting out no. And if you don't opt in yes, and they don't give you the option to opt in or opt out, you need to be automatically opted out. I think you're going to have to totally opt in and opt everybody else out, or this won't work. If they opt people in that didn't want to be opted in, that's going to be huge. They're going to have major lawsuits on their hand. And will be disabled once contact tracing is no longer needed. Are we serious? Are they seriously saying contact tracing no longer needed? They're talking about this COVID-19 lasting the next maybe year or two. And at the end of that, what's to say there isn't another coronavirus that comes along that will need to be traced? Do you think once they open this Pandora's box to allow this contact tracing to take place and all the incredible data they will be getting from this, that they will ever let it go? It's kind of like those governments when they raise taxes, like state governments raise taxes for the purposes of like building a road or something like that. And then when the road is completely built, do they take away the tax? Not usually. Most of the time it sticks around and they'll reallocate the funds to other purposes. So once this is in place, it's pretty much here. Are you with this? The API can also be used by only one app per county, the company said, but added that they will support governments that prefer to deploy the system at a regional or on a state level. So there are still concerns about the effectiveness of contact tracing apps, including whether enough people will opt in. That is the key. Like I said earlier, that one in Australia, it was voluntary, and they said they needed 40% of the population to opt in. Do you think 40% of the population of the United States would opt in to doing something like this? I don't think so. Enough people need to opt in order to provide a clear picture of how the virus is spreading and the relative lack of smartphone penetration in countries. But Google and Apple representatives say the technology would provide a much more effective option to track exposure to the virus than traditional contact tracing methods, which involve manual recording of those who have tested positive and who they've been in contact with in recent weeks. Again, I'm scared of this, you guys. Like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's all in the name of public health, and we want to be protected, and I get all those things. But unless you have 100% of the people involved in this participating, how do you know you're not being exposed by those non-users of this API technology? Just, it's a lot of holes. And I appreciate the effort using technology, but I think this is going to be an abysmal failure. And at the same time, you're giving all this information to companies to use for whatever purposes they want to use. I know they're promising not to monetize, they're promising to not store the information, but does anybody really believe that? And who's to say they're not already getting some of this information from us anyway, and by having us opt in, this just like gets them off the hook from doing that. Oh, you opted in, so you gave us permission. It's scary when you think about it. The companies say their technology looks to support and enhance the government's existing contact tracing efforts rather than replacing them. So that's what's going on, you guys. In response to COVID-19, we have this app and this software specifically being created to help trace those people who have COVID-19 so that you can stay the heck away from it. Well, my thinking is this. If someone has COVID-19 and they're dealing with it, why aren't they quarantined? Why are they out and about where you would be exposed? Like, I'm not understanding why this is an issue. Now, I suppose the question becomes, okay, is this someone who is asymptomatic? But again, how would they know that they have COVID-19 unless we get some kind of widespread testing where people know that they either are or not, if they have the antibodies or if they don't have the antibodies, so forth and so on. This is a convoluted mess, and yet we're supposed to trust that this tracing software Oh, it's all on the up and up. Yeah, I don't know about you. I don't think it's on the up and up at all. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. We're going to come over here to Instagram first, then Facebook, and then YouTube. So thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. Welcome in, welcome in. Head on over to jimmyrants.com and you can see all the past episodes. Musing Poet says, rant on. That is what I do here. Bexy Girl said Tennessee Vols color. Yes, I actually am, and my alma mater is the University of Tennessee, so go Vols. I have never heard you say that the coronavirus is not real, Mama Ora said. No, I have not. James said the same thing. Never heard you say that. I have not. And so I'm not sure where that came from, but it's unfortunate that this prominent keto doctor, if you joined us late, a prominent keto doctor chided me over the weekend in an email that I was spreading misinformation about COVID-19, saying it wasn't real. And I'm like, okay, show me the evidence. And to date, I have not gotten any evidence that supports it. And then when I asked him further, oh, I heard from a colleague that said you said that. And then I looked it up and I found that you did say that. And I'm like, show me, prove it. And that was 3 days ago and I haven't heard anything. So shut your mouth. Fat Fueled at 50 says you never said that. Yeah, I did not. James says, I love what you do here. It's not ranting, it's actually raving with thoughtful discussion. Well, thank you. That is the goal that I'm trying to do here. Bonnie says, stress sometimes causes people to do things they would not normally do. I'm sorry that happened. It's disappointing. We know you are always about the truth. I am. Try to be anyway. I have a Fitbit, says Bonnie. So yeah, Fitbit would probably be one of those kind of apps that they could integrate this software to see what's going on. So are you getting your steps in, Bonnie? Oh, if you're not, you might be susceptible to COVID-19. Like, who knows how they're going to use this information? Beth says, my roommate and I had a conversation about having a bicycle shorts and bicycle seat with the hole in the middle. About 3 days later, I was scrolling through Instagram with an ad of a picture of both of those things. Of course, they're listening. Yes, they are listening. Alexa, are you listening? David says you can always make a slippery slope argument, but I think using this technology for contagious disease is different than using it for something like food in your cart that will make you unhealthy. Maybe. Rachel says, Technology phone tracking technology. The pro is I would never be falsely accused of a crime because my phone shows I was sitting on my couch on YouTube buying pork rinds on Amazon. That's true. Chris says Facebook is already collecting your location. That's why I get advertisements for places all around me. That's true. David said, regarding the privacy issue, I'm totally with you. Said the reality is, despite whatever reassurances they give, there's really no more privacy if we decide to use these technologies. R.W. Hempel says, the less apps, the better. Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier when I saw this story. Could we just delete all the health apps off of your phone? Now, that's inconvenient because a lot of us use health apps, especially those of you that watch me. But would that solve the issue? I don't know. Bonnie says Alexa won't answer you because you're on to her. Alexa, am I on to you?
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, she's not sure about that. So there you go, Bonnie. You're right. She's being a little shifty in her answers lately. David said, I think the point of this tracing app is that after you find out you have it, people that were in close proximity to you would be alerted. Okay, maybe. But that wasn't clear in the description of what this app was about. But that's a good thing, I suppose. It's still very disturbing to me on a lot of levels for a lot of other reasons. All right, let's see what you guys have to say over here. Thank you, Instagram, on Facebook. Patty says, are you sure it was actually the doctor and not someone who hacked his email? I texted him. And I was like, okay, I got this email and it's kind of weird. did you send me an email? Oh yeah, I was very concerned. And so he reconfirmed that it was them. Trust me, the first thing I thought of, Patty, was that he got hacked. Trust me, that was the very first thought I had, because this was way out of line for this particular doctor. So yes, I did verify, and he did confirm that he indeed did send that email. Janet said, I don't trust it for sure. Go Vols. Yes, go Vols. Luann says, makes you want to read every word of the updates on your phones. You really should. Like a lot of us, we get those updates and all those things, and we just assume, hey, they're on the up and up. Yes, approved. And maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. All right, let's see what, thank you, Facebook. Let's see what YouTube has to say about all we've shared here. Wow, look at all them comments. Really loving this being live. Well, thank you, Shirley. I'm really happy to be here live. I'm always nervous about how much information I have out there, always cutting off my location services when I'm not using GPS. I used to cut it off as I was driving into my neighborhood. My husband got us 3 of those ALEXAs. My Google on my phone already spies on me enough. Kim Call says, I don't have ALEXA. I don't like the idea of contact tracing using my phone. Yeah, you're not alone in that. I think a lot of people have those issues. Shirley says, I will never knowingly agree to any kind of tracking. The GPS function I turn off regularly. They already have enough of my information as it is. Yes. The only thing about Alexa is you can play really great music and have it do all kind of things. But I get it. You kind of trade off that entertainment value for privacy things. And so I have them. They're listening to me. I got some devices on my property. They're hearing everything I'm saying. So. All right, let's go back over here to Instagram, see if you have any final thoughts. Rachel says, does health insurance apps count? They hold full health histories. Hey, I don't know, Rachel. I know they're going to be working with a lot of these health apps. They just generically said if it's a health app, they're going to be working with them, putting this software behind it. Now, again, they're supposed to give you an opt-in and not automatically opt you in. So I don't believe that, but we'll see if they do that. So, all right, guys. So, what do you think about this? We got these apps, this technology that's out there that will be tracing and tracking for people that get COVID-19 to let you know, okay, somebody within your sphere of influence has had COVID-19 and it's going to alert you. I mean, on surface value, oh, wow, yeah, I want to go so I can avoid blah, 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 especially in the coming months as we get back out there and are socially distancing, but not totally holed up in our houses anymore. Some people will see, oh, it's going to be helpful, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, but there are some major concerns about it that I hope they address. David says, on Google, I found this button that said location history. Google showed me every place I had been over the past 2 years. David, that's not surprising. They've been tracing everything. In my car, I've got a GPS in my car, and I will regularly get an email that says, oh, your car is, and it'll give the location, and you left your door unlocked. So yeah, this is already in existence. They just want to step it up into the health realm. Bonnie says the location, I agree on both sides, but let's just say my daughter was kidnapped. I believe that's something we could see her last location, not sure. Again, I think if that's something that you are concerned about and you could use, then great. A lot of times you can remotely turn on those kinds of things. You know, if it's like a parent and child, the parent can turn on things on the kid's phone. Anyway, there's plenty of technology out there, and the technology is constantly evolving, and we just need to be aware that they're going to use that evolved technology for things like what I talked about here today on Jimmy Rants. So now you know, you've got the information, and I hope it kind of gives you some food for thought to think about as we go into this living in the world of COVID-19 and coming out of it. What's this going to look like? And this is one of the things that's going to come up. And if you didn't know, now you know. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, you can enjoy watching the show live. I go at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, so go check it out over on Instagram. I am at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, we do go live 11 a.m. We also throw in some 5 p.m.s. I'll probably do a 5 p.m. later today, depending on how I feel. And sometimes I do weekend ones as well. I try to get in about 8 episodes a week. So thank you for watching Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live, we do simulcast also on my Facebook page as well as on YouTube Live. So thank you guys for being here today as well. If you missed the live, then keep it up on here on Instagram for 24 hours. After that, it will need to be watched over at jimmyrants.com or over on YouTube. Type in a keyword search Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. So guys, that's it for now. We'll be back again real soon with more Jimmy Rants. And that's a wrap. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Always a pleasure to come on here and share what's on my heart and what's out there in the news. I saw a whole bunch of stuff this morning that I want to talk about. And I'm trying to mix it up. You know, somebody really hurt my heart last week because they're like, all you talk about is this COVID-19. I'm like, really? That's all I talk about? Like, I get that people are exposed to it out there in the mainstream, and so then they hear something from somebody like me, oh, everybody's talking about COVID-19. You know, I think it would be silly as someone in the health space to not talk about it at all. I mean, I think it's incumbent upon us in the health space to basically go around the outer edges of COVID-19, like this story I did here today, like how do you deal with the stress, like some of the things I have coming up. One of the things I have is antibody testing and how widespread it is and the accuracy. There's another one that was a study about the number of people getting COVID-19. You're at higher risk being indoors. What was it? Three times higher risk being indoors versus outdoors. Your chances of getting COVID-19 are very small. So I got those kinds of stories. There's nothing wrong with sharing those kinds of stories. One thing you will not get from me is, well, if you want to cure COVID-19, here is the 1, 2, 3 step of the natural blah, blah. I will never do those kinds of things. I know there are some people out here in the nutritional health space that are doing those kinds of things. But that's not what I do. I think you mix it up, definitely not all you talk about. Yeah, like just yesterday I talked about the cholesterol and calorie hypothesis pretty much being bunk, and that we need to be looking at insulin resistance. I'm trying to mix it up. I mean, obviously, there are a lot of things to talk about with the coronavirus and COVID-19, but my wheelhouse is still keto and fasting and cholesterol and all the things. So I will keep doing those things. I do have a bit of extra time, you guys, so while I'm still here on both Facebook and on YouTube Live, if you have any questions you want to ask along those lines of the things I can answer, I would be delighted to answer some questions. A few minutes, I've got Real Talk podcast coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, so I've got a little while. I'm not staying that long, but I'll stay maybe another 10 or 15 minutes if you guys have questions. Janet says, oh Lord, I'm so stressed. It's hard to sometimes keep my head above the water. Plus I have my sister here at my house. It drives me nuts. Yes, people are going crazy with their families, which in a way, I miss people right now, not being or other people in this house. But some days I see people like yourself saying those kinds of things and I go, man, I'm glad I'm all by myself. At the end of the day, I do love being around people. And I get a little bit of exposure to people. And of course, they've opened up our town to be able to go back out in it. But there's crazy people. Like I went to Sam's Club yesterday and people be crazy in there. Like they're not even talking about or obeying social distancing. These people are all on each other and they're all wearing masks, but they're standing like right next to each other. And I was going to walk out. You got to like have them scan your thing on the way out. This guy came right up behind me like a foot. And I'm like, excuse me, can you please back up? just like a little bit. Don't come up, don't come all up in my space a little bit. Like I'm 6 feet back from the person in front of me, and then here's this person like a foot behind me. Back away, and nobody gets hurt. Otherwise, I should go on him and see how he likes it. That would be so cruel to do, would it? No questions, you guys. Go ahead and pop me some questions. We're going to stick around a little bit longer here to see if you have anything you want to ask. I do have a great topic we're going to do on Real Talk today. Real Talk is my podcast I do on Thursday, so it comes out Thursday. So one of the topics that I asked Dr. Will, who is my co-host on that show, Will Cole, is, hey, how about we take like all these factions that are real food, the Atkins people, paleo, primal, Whole30, keto, carnivore, and even like the plant-based community as well. And why don't we say, you know what do we all believe in? And what are those commonalities? Because I think with all these people that are metabolically damaged that we're seeing out there from the comorbidities with COVID-19, all of them just need to do something besides the crappy garbage that they're eating. And so if they're eating this crap, what is a common theme that is basic amongst all of this alternative health? Because the unfortunate thing is the paleo people are doing their thing. The keto people are doing their thing. The carnivore people are doing their thing. The plant-based people are doing their thing. Everybody is on an island. And if we all coalesced and said, we all agree that da-da-da. Now, obviously, getting carnivores and vegans to agree on much is going to be a difficult task. But I think basic principles, not necessarily specific foods, will be a big key to this. So I'm looking forward to having that conversation with Will about that. And again, I'm recording that a little bit, about an hour from now, we'll be recording. I try my best to give people their space. That's just respect. Well, I mean, that's just common decency, especially at this time. All right, I think I saw a question come in here. Shirley says, these people wearing the masks seem to be more daring than those who aren't. Therefore, I see them more dangerous to my health. The masks don't really protect you. Yeah, I don't know about whether the masks protect you or not. I do know these people that wear it, they think it's a get out of jail free card. And especially in the stores like at Sam's, all the employees are required to wear the masks right now. And so they're all wearing these masks, and I see them get right up to each other. And I'm like, okay, that mask isn't gonna necessarily totally protect you. So you still need to like distance yourself from your coworkers. But I'm seeing coworkers like real close to each other, and like I said, customers all on top of each other. Kira said, I had to ask a store employee if they had more heavy whipping cream in the back because it was on sale. He could not hear me with my shirt pulled over my mouth and my nose. I did not have a mask. In order to hear me better, he moved close to me, pulled off his mask so he could hear me better. I'm still laughing about that. Yeah. It's almost like we're going through the motions, isn't it, Kira? That, okay, we have this facade of we're doing something. You know, and I've gone out in public. I do not wear a mask, not as a rebel or anything. I stay away from people. I stay as far away from people as possible. And any people I do come into contact with, I don't get anywhere close to them. And I'm not spitting at them. I'm not talking to them, you know, and where it happened, or vice versa. So, but I'm not in stores very long. When I go into Sam's Club, I have the app on my phone, and I'm checking myself out. And then I'm walking right out the back door. That's it. So that's what I do, and it keeps me safe. David said, I've never done any kind of home blood testing. If I want to start, what do you suggest? Like a blood glucose monitor? Is there one you would recommend? Great questions. So blood glucose is an interesting one because there is wide disparity amongst a lot of the companies that are out there. The main thing with blood glucose, if you're going to test that, yes, please test blood glucose, but you need to stay with the same monitor. So like whatever monitor you decide to choose, just know it's a tool. And with any tool, tools are not perfect. Even the most quote unquote perfect tool is never going to always be perfect. So with that knowledge in mind, when you start testing, don't skip from one blood sugar meter to another one. If you start testing and you see consistently high readings, okay, maybe it's not, maybe it's off. The one that I've used is the Walmart brand called Rely On, RELI-ON. It's a relatively inexpensive one, and it's pretty darn close. Like, I've tested with that thing, and then I've tested in the doctor's office, and it's really, really close. So for the best bang for your buck, and the strips are pretty inexpensive, definitely the Rely On, but really any of them work. If you can get one continuous glucose monitor, there's a lot of companies starting to come out with these things. You do need a doctor's prescription right now. Abbott makes that one, but it's this little thing that you put in your arm. Pretty soon I'll do a Jimmy Rants where I put one in, and I'll tell you more about CGMs. I think everybody should be wearing a CGM. Who cares about your health? So other at-home blood tests, obviously well, it doesn't have to be a blood test. Blood ketones you can do, but I think some of the breath ketone technology, which I'll be telling you about a new one that's coming out, or yeah, it's out soon. I'll be showing that on video here soon. Pretty much if you do blood sugar and do some kind of ketones as a ketogenic eater, that should set you up. Now there's other at-home things you could do, at-home cholesterol tests, like don't do the total one, that doesn't tell you anything. But an at-home triglyceride meter, they make these meters that let you look at your triglycerides, and that's that blood fat that's in your body. I'm trying to remember how much it was. I want to say it was like $50 for the meter. But all of this could probably be found either in a local, like Walgreens or CVS, or obviously online on Amazon. It's all health safety theater. Yeah, it seems that way, Kira. Nancy said the masks are to protect others from you. I wear mine out of respect for people working in stores. Their work allows us to buy food. Yeah, and I get that. I tested my antibodies recently. I do not have coronavirus, and I have not had the coronavirus, so I'm not worried about infecting others. Shirley says, I don't wear a mask currently, but I think it's to my advantage because people steer clear of me. Well, yeah, and you know, if psychologically you're in a store and you have to cough or sneeze, do you find yourself trying to hold it in? Because the moment you're in a store with people and you go, ah! People will jump. Or if you sneeze, which sneezing is not even a part of the coronavirus, but oh my God, it's kind of crazy. All right, guys, I'm going to pop off of here for now. Thank you so much for watching, and always a pleasure to be with you. And I hope to be back with you guys again real soon. Bye. Bye, YouTube Live. See ya.